This is the Toshiba Portege R700. It's got the worst cooling setup ever. It's already reached 104 degrees C and the thermal maximum is 105. This is with thermal throttling happening. It still can't keep cool enough. So in a last effort attempt to try and maybe rectify this, I think I'll turn this into a headless laptop and take it apart and see if I can do anything with the cooling setup on this. Screen is broken, so we can remove that and we'll take this apart and try and sort the cooling. It's got VGA and HDMI out on this. Keyboard is okay. There's no battery. Not sure if Wi-Fi works. I've had to plug in a dongle. But yeah, here's our tiny little fan, and the heatsink's over here. So how the air is supposed to get from here over here is anyone's guess, really. I'm just going to pull the power out and start taking it apart. I'm going to try and do videos that are less edited. So yeah, I'm halfway through taking all the screws out. Unfortunately, this is a laptop with a lot of screws. All the screws are out. I can take this off. There's something attached. So there's a card reader here. It looks like that's attached to the motherboard. Not really that essential. And then the optical drive is like some weird kind of lidless device. Is also attached with these thin ribbon cables. It kind of like it mounts to the bottom. Maybe I could screw that back in here so that it stays in place. Okay, so yeah, maybe a few more screws will help keep this in place. For now, I mean, we'll probably put this back on when we put it back together. I don't need the screen though, do I? This is the fan here. This is supposed to somehow blow air across this. This is the bit that needs the air. The fan blows it that way, and how they think the air is going to go over this. Absolute mayhem, madness. Just oddness, really. So actually we probably won't use the bottom of this because we need to sort something out to get air here, really. Maybe repositioning this somewhere would be the answer. So it does have a Wi-Fi card here. It's just not working at the moment in Windows 10. Perhaps this is one of those Centrino Wi-Fi cards that don't work with Windows 10. That's a possibility. But anyway, let's get rid of the screen. Okay, I've just realized the screen has probably got the Wi-Fi cables going through and some other cables going up there as well. I think there's a webcam in there. So maybe we'll keep the screen, but we do need to try and work out how to actually cool this processor. So I think I'll unscrew this, see how long this cable is. Maybe we need to extend this cable somehow. Perhaps if this was here, it would actually provide enough cooling for the CPU. Let's just try this. How am I going to fix this in place? Okay, we're at the point where we're booted up and these are the temperatures. So it got up to 103 degrees C. And the fan is just sitting here. So this is not a sort of long-term solution, but perhaps this could help. If I can wire this up to USB, I should be able to get 5 volts and power this potentially. So I'm going to give that a try. Okay, so I've got this USB cable. This was a micro USB charger, and it looks like it is literally just the power red and black. So this should be 5 volts red and black, and plug it into a USB socket. We'll see if this works. Where did they put the fan? Here. So this also just has black and red. So we'll see if this works. See if this fan starts spinning. Okay, so it is spinning. Right, I'll wire these up better. This has got a little latch here, so you can actually take these out, hopefully. Once I pinch those bits. Okay, that is now wired up and hopefully still works. Yep. So we've got a fan that we can mount or put outside the PC, laptop, and it can give additional cooling. I guess part of the reason I'm doing this is I still kind of see an i5 as a decent performer, but maybe I need to change my views. First gen i5, maybe it's not so good. Now that I've used a USB port for this, I'm now down one USB port, meaning I need to unplug the keyboard, plug in the mouse. Let's use CPU Z to stress the CPU and see what temperature, or rather what happens with the temperature. This is giving some airflow, but not that much, to be honest. It's probably gonna, well, it will blow a lot more air if it was at 12 volts rather than 5 volts, which is what we're getting from USB-C. So let's just bench this, see what it's doing. We've got this fan ramping up here. This fan will just stay at the same speed. And here we've got modulation 75%, which means it's throttling the CPU to keep it cool. Just gonna stress it and leave it running and see what happens. I forgot, we've got an eSATA port here which can be used as USB, so we do have an extra USB when we need one. We're gonna install Passmark because then I can run the CPU test there and see how the CPU is performing in that and see what it is equivalent to. You know, if this is an i5 CPU but it performs like, I don't know, single core Celeron, then what is the point in saving this laptop? Okay, we've got performance test 11.1. Let's run the CPU mark and hopefully you can see the CPU temperature over here. And I'm also including this because why not? It's interesting to see what's going on and how the fans are spinning. So modulation over here is where it slows the CPU down so that it doesn't overheat. But let's just see what happens and what CPU mark we get. Excuse me. If we're getting performance around, I don't know, let's just say an Intel quad-core Q6600, then, or less perhaps, then I think that is probably my deciding factor. If it's worse than an Intel quad-core Q6600, then for me this is not necessarily a system that is worth saving, unfortunately. So the Intel Core 2 Quad Q6600 is a 2.4 gigahertz processor and it's a quad core. It's from 2008 and it gets a CPU mark of around 1836 according to CPU benchmark. So let's see what this laptop gets. So it's got a score of 1239. That is, yeah, that is worse than an Intel Core 2 Quad. I mean, excuse me, I think it should be getting a score of 1900, which isn't actually that much better than a Q6600. You know, it uses much less power, 35 watts, 2 cores, 4 threads, turbo's up to 3.2. But yeah, this is basically worse than a quad core, and yeah, I think that's it for me. I think it basically shows that this is not worth saving. Broken screen, flimsy construction, overheats, and doesn't perform very well. You know, I've got 2 fans pointing at this and it's still overheating, and this fan is normally over here and doesn't keep the CPU cool. So yeah, I think this is a dead end. I think this laptop needs to go into e-waste recycling, take the memory out, take the drive out, and then move on, unfortunately. But you know, I think this drive came with it. I quite like this drive. It looks nice. It's useful for the drive. It's useful for the memory. So we're reusing what we can. And in the process, we've invented a USB powered fan. So this could be useful for something else at some point. You know, if you ever just want to add a USB fan to something, then why not? But anyway, if you've watched this, thanks for watching. There are other videos on old PC gunk on this laptop, so go check them out if you want. Thanks, bye.